And so I'm just going to say a short prayer as we move into a new year. And if you just bear with me just for a moment. Hoya ahayo, kakeya heyabo sahayo. Konariska, konaristo, konahakoro, konahatiro ahayo. Tikida wina ahayo, goatsia ahayo, hano, hasine ahayo. Tikida wina, litida wina, kuana, sakwa, heyaso ahayo. Gonakai ahayo, the way that you are, the doctor that who you are. Look down upon us today in these directions. Take care of our elders from the oldest to the youngest. As we move along in this journey of life that you have provided us, I ask you to bless all those that are incarcerated, all those that are in harm's way, all those soldiers that are fighting for our freedom to be here today, and our tribe as a nation, and the new administration coming in, and the administration that just exited. I ask that you be with our people, our elders, our children, the ones that we're not going to see. Almighty God, Kuana, way down there, Almighty God. Dakatonkayo, Hano, Hahayo, hope that they be with these little children, Almighty God. Hope to not these little girls, these little boys. Bless them. We're not going to see them. But today I ask you to bless all our people, wherever you find them, however you find them. I ask that you be with our tribal elected leaders and our homes today as we move forward together with one voice to your Son, Jesus Christ, to do your will. I ask that you forgive me for anything I might have said or done, may have said to anyone here or anyone listening, God, Father. Forgive me for my sins so I can be worthy of this prayer. Again, take care of my children, my grandchildren, and all those that I love, all our relatives, far and near, Almighty God. I just give you all the praise and all the glory. Thank you for allowing us to be a human being. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Thank you for allowing us to be a nation within a nation. To your Son, I pray, if I left anything out, I ask you to take care of it. Amen. Thank you. Okay, roll call. We need to do roll call. If anybody, if everyone that is Caddo in road, if you could just raise your hand so we can get a count who's all here and those that are online as well, so we can make sure we have a quorum. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. There's 25, and so that includes everyone online as well. So we may have more as the day moves on or this morning. So again, I appreciate everyone being in attendance. Well, good morning. I'm glad to see everyone this morning. And today we're going to have the reading of the minutes. If you have a copy of them, I don't know if Matt, you here? I don't know if you got everybody a copy of the minutes. If you can look at them, and then if anyone wants to make a motion, if there's any corrections or anything that we need to do, we'll take care of it and provide the opportunity to make that happen.
Wow, this is the quietest I've ever heard our people be in a while. Kind of exciting. Please let us know if there's any corrections or if we missed anything. Oh, we need a motion to approve and then someone to second that. So I don't know if anyone ever heard online, Buzz Cousin made the motion to approve the minutes if there's no corrections online. And seconded by Arnita P. Ward, he seconded. Is there anyone online that has any? Are we good there? Okay, so motion's been made by Mr. Buzz Cousin to accept the minutes. There's no corrections, and seconded by Arnita P. Wardy. All in favor, raise your hand. Even online, please, if you can see a vote, and we can get a count. Okay, gotcha, Mr. McDonald. Thank you. It's Mr. McDonald, Buzz McDonald. Did you get the count? Okay, so motion carries to approve the minutes from the last member meeting. 2100. So thank you. Thank you for being here again today. There was no one abstained. Okay, no one abstained. All right. So again, I'm glad to be here. I don't want to bore anyone with me being up here. Again, I do want to talk to you this morning just a little bit about the tribe, where we're at. We have an agenda with 4 bullet points as we move forward, but they're very critical to the nation. And so I'm just going to jump in. And I appreciate everyone being here and online. And I want to discuss a little bit about where we've been the last couple of months and where we're headed as a tribe. And I can't see what I wrote unless I take my glasses off, but I can't see you either. So I'm kind of like caught in between. But nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead and remove my glasses so I can see what I'm doing here. And I have some notes. I want to talk to you a little bit about President Biden and the tribal summit that myself and our vice chairman, Kelly Factor, had attended this past year. As the chairman of the Caddo Nation, I've attended 3 White House presidential summits with the Biden administration, and we have been invited each time. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm also going to talk about the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump, which I attended the inauguration of President Trump just the other day. I was invited by the administration, and you'll see a newspaper that's going around that was published today on the front page about the Caddo Nation attending that inauguration, and that the 7 tribes will be meeting, all 7 sovereign nations locally. We'll be discussing the Trump's administration along with our sovereignty and along with the executive orders that he has implemented. So if you want to look at that, you can do that as it goes around. So I'm going to go back a little bit, okay? If y'all just bear with me. It's not my first rodeo dealing with presidents. I've been at this for probably around 40 years. I've dealt with every president that you could possibly think of, from the Clinton era to the Bush family to, to the Bidens to Obama to Trump, back to Biden, back to Trump. And so I want to talk to you about the last time President Trump was in office. And these are facts, okay? This is factual stuff. President Trump, when he was in office, he had executed executive orders that had several significant implications for Native American tribes. Key actions, okay? These are key actions. One was an Operation Land Justice. Trump signed an executive order 13898 to establish a task force addressing the crisis of missing, murdered Native Americans, particularly women and girls. This initiative led to the creation of code case offices and enhanced coordination between tribal, federal, and local law enforcement agencies. Two, during COVID, now you have to remember when this administration came in, and we want to thank you for allowing us to serve at such a time when we were facing the pandemic at its height. When we got here, the building was empty. There was nothing but debt. We didn't have anything. We didn't know where we were headed, what was going to happen. And through this administration, we're in a different place today. So thank you for allowing the council and us to serve you. During that COVID time, during Trump's administration, COVID-19 relief, the administration allocated substantial funding through the CARES Act, directing $8 billion to support tribal communities during the pandemic. As a result of that is in this room. All the HVAC that you see, everything that you see here, those are the dollars that purchased these type of HVAC clean air units for the nation through this relief. Preservation efforts. Trump's reactivated the White House Council on Native American Affairs to support economic development and improve living standards in tribal communities. Additionally, his administration emphasized culture preservation and language revitalization. Public safety. Beyond Operation Lady Justice, the administration provided grants and resources to combat violence against women, improve public safety, and address systemic issues in health services. That was the last administration before President Biden took office. Now think about that for a second. Those are 4 different topics. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about Biden's approach to Native American affairs. A little bit different approach. And this is vital to you as members to hear what we're talking about here, because this impacts you as a community. President Joe Biden's administration has achieved significant milestones in supporting Native American tribes and communities with the focus of funding, self-determination, and addressing historical inequities. Key successes include historical investments. The American Rescue Plan allocated $32 billion to tribal nations, the largest single federal investment in U.S. history. Additional funding included $13 billion from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and $700 million from the Inflation Reduction Act. Now remember these terms, which targeted clean energy and environmental improvements for tribal communities. The administration implemented the Justice 40 initiative, ensuring that federal investment benefits disadvantaged and underfunded communities, including all federally recognized tribes, are created equally. Economic empowerment. The expansion of the Buy Indian Act significantly increased federal contracts with Native-owned businesses, contributing an $8.2 billion boost between 2020 and 2023. The State Small Business Credit Initiative, SSBCI, included $500 million for tribal enterprises, making the first dedicated funding for tribal governments and programs in the history of the United States. This investment aimed to foster small business growth and job creation in Native communities, advancing healthcare and safety. This administration secured advance appropriations for Indian Health Services, IHS, and for the first time ensuring stable healthcare funding in Indian country. The reauthorization of Violence Against Women Act expanded tribal jurisdiction to prosecute non-native predators of violence on tribal lands and allocated significant funding to combat that gender-based violence. Environmental justice and land protection. President Biden restored protections to culturally significant sites like Bears Ears National Monument and prioritized tribal consultation on federal land that's being managed. The administration is actively working, and they've actively worked to combat climate change, impact on Native communities through initiatives like 30-30 Conservation Goal. They strengthened tribal sovereignty. Executive orders were issued to enhance nation-to-nation consultation and improve federal funding processes, prioritizing tribal decision-making and self-determination. Regular reforms address tribal priorities, including economic development, culture preservation, gaming compacts, and transparency. All those efforts to underscore the administration's commitment to fostering and strengthening partnerships with tribal nations, addressing historical injustices, and investing in long-term prosperity for communities. For more information, just read up on this stuff. It's not anything that I'm making up. Kelly, our vice chairman, and I attended the tribal summit, and we were provided reports related to what I'm letting everyone know here today in writing from the White House. Now, why would I bring all that up? Well, the reason I bring it up is because you, as citizens of the Caddo Nation, have an opportunity to voice your concerns through a process, a diplomatic process. You're a sovereign nation within a nation. You've allowed us to serve you. You are the people. Your voice is critical. We understand that. It is very critical in Indian country to voice our concerns in Indian country. And as an example of that, I think there's a news article. Does anyone have that paper? I think there's two of them running around. Is there another one running around? Can I have that for a second? Now, it's pretty interesting. I'll probably be getting hit up every news, and it happens. Now, why would I bring all this up? Trust me, there was more funding opportunities during the Biden administration than ever before. Today, with the new administration, the tribes have to continue to build those relationships with the new administration. Where those relationships go is a product of negotiations related to the democracy that you hold as sovereign people, related to the president and his staff and those cabinet officials and who's moving in Indian country and what they're going to do. So with that said, I want to read something that I was able to put together. Again, I just returned back from the presidential inauguration, and a critical intersection of representation and sovereignty. Presidential inaugurations are significant events that stabilize the peaceful transfer of power in the United States. For tribal leaders, attending these ceremonies is more than a formality. It is a political and cultural statement that underscores the sovereignty of tribal nations, highlights their integral role in the nation's governance, and strengthens relationships with the federal government. Participation in a presidential inauguration reaffirms the government-to-government relationship between tribal nations and the United States. This relationship, enshrined in treaties and federal policies, is vital for maintaining tribal sovereignty and ensuring respect for the unique status of Native communities. By attending, tribal leaders assert their place as equal stakeholders in national governance and demonstrate their commitment to fostering collaborative policymaking with incoming administration. Inaugurations provide a platform for tribal leaders to emphasize key priorities for their communities. Historically, Native leaders have leveraged such high-profile events to highlight issues such as healthcare, funding, environmental justice, land restoration, and economic development in Indian country. Active engagement with tribal leaders can shape meaningful policy outcomes. Representation at these events sends a powerful message of visibility and inclusion. Native Americans have often been underrepresented in federal decision-making. When tribal leaders attend these ceremonies, they not only symbolize the resiliency and presence of their communities, but also remind the nation of its responsibilities towards Indigenous people. Preparation and participation strengthens relationships with our leaders and stakeholders. Presidential inaugurations are attended by members of Congress, cabinet officials, and global dignitaries, offering tribal leaders opportunities to network and advance for their communities on a broader scale. In sum, the presence of tribal leaders at a presidential inauguration is a powerful act of representation, diplomacy, and advocacy. It not only honors the sovereignty of tribal nations, it also ensures that Native voices remain central to the American political landscape. As your chairman, on my return from Washington, D.C., I reached out to all the leaders that are in this area. That includes the Comanche Nation chairman, the Kiowa Nation chairman, the Fort Sill Apache Nation chairman, the president of the Wichita and affiliated tribes, as well as the Delaware Nation president, 7 local tribes. I talked to each one of them. And one of the things that we're going to do on January 30th, all the elected leaders from these sovereign nations will meet in Anadarko, Oklahoma, at the Susan Peters Art Gallery hosted by the Caddo Nation to discuss President Trump's new incoming administration, executive orders, and tribal sovereignty. Now, with that said, I know that's probably a little much. What does that mean? If you look around at the buildings and what we've been able to do, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, is a direct effect on the laws that happens in DC. I'll give you an example. There's an executive order right now that's out that says you're not a citizen. That basically says that your citizen as Native Americans are being challenged by an executive order that was signed by this administration just the other day. There are tribes like the Cherokee Nation and other tribes that are moving politically, and there's lawsuits that are being filed related to executive orders that impact not only tribal nations, but other states, municipalities, and communities throughout the United States. There are things that, whether you're Democrat or Republican, that have an effect on tribal communities. While we fight among ourselves, why we continue to maybe look at each other in such a way that doesn't allow us to really look at the whole picture as really being democratic. Laws change and they affect us. They impact us. And the fight is in Washington. The fight is getting our voices heard, our sovereignty heard. And we need to be involved. We have to be involved. one of the executive orders that was just signed basically is challenging you as a citizen of the United States, saying that you're not a born citizen of the country. Well, someone asked, well, where are you going to send this to? Nativia? Right? So there are some of those things that are going to impact us. I'll give you another example. We've been working with the Department of Energy to plug orphan wells in Caddo County, to hire our own people to plug those wells to deal with the methane and the leakage and the environmental injustice that's happened on our lands. We were awarded $3.7 million from the Department of Energy to allow that to happen through BLM and a lot of different moving parts. Well, there was an executive order signed that killed the clean energy deal. The Inflation Reduction Act is tied to that. The dollars that we have are tied to that. Well, does that go away? What are the impacts related to these EQs? There was an executive order signed the other day that has an effect on education related to Native kids going to school. There are things that are positive in those executive orders that allows us to be energy independent as sovereign nations as well. There are things that are, that you're going to agree with. There's things that you're not going to agree with, just like there's things that you may not agree with me on, or you may not agree with things even within your own family or in your own home, or with us as elected leaders. We have to listen. We have to be mindful of what is going on here in the United States. So I wanted to let everyone know that we are going to be meeting with the tribal elected leaders. We are going to be working with this administration to move the tribe forward. Part of our culture is we don't look back. When we came out of this hole that the Creator, and all our people and the animals came out of it, we don't look back. We move forward, and we're going to continue to move forward in the way that we're going to do that right now. And I'm glad that you guys are all here, and I'm glad that folks are online listening. One of the things that we're going to do, and it's really exciting, is that for the first time in the history of the Caddo Nation, we are actually in the process of modernizing in today's day our Constitution and leading that in Indian country. And with that said, I have the Caddo Nation Constitution Reform Update. There's going to be a commission. There's going to be people involved with that. You're going to be involved with that because it's your Constitution and it's a live document, and you're going to be vetted into that process with this next phase. And so I think, is Stacy online? Could we get her up and so she could talk a little bit about that?
Hi, Kwahat. Can you hear me?
I don't know if you can hear us, Stacy, but you might have to unmute yourself or we'll figure it out.
I am unmuted. Can you all hear me?
We can. We can. So Stacy, I know we're moving into an era and having some of the most influential individuals in the legal world look at our Constitution, and now it's time that we've seen a report of the legalese to how are you going to implement and form this commission and what's going to happen. And we're just going to turn it over to you if you can hit some of the highlights as we move forward, and appreciate you being online.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everybody. Kwahat, Sedenta. My name is Stacy Halfmoon. I'm a citizen of the Caddo Nation, and I have been serving as the project coordinator for this Constitution project. I wanted to share an update. I know some of you have been at some of the previous meetings and are aware we were under what we were calling a phase one research and analysis phase of the Constitution project. And so recently we submitted, the ad hoc committee submitted their findings and recommendations to the tribal council, kind of the results of that research and analysis phase. So I wanted to share a little bit about what went into that and what was part of the process and what we recommended to the tribal council. The ad hoc committee met through the fall, basically September into December, and there were three main parts of what we did. outside of our meetings, we gathered basically all of the historical underpinnings of not only the Caddo Constitution, but when tribes began to adopt constitutions, what that background was at the time in the United States, federal Indian policy and law that influenced how we came to adopt these constitutions that in many cases, and in particular in the Caddo case, included language that wasn't really reflective of our culture, of our values, of even our traditional forms of government. And so we gathered that. That is in the background of what we provided. I can't go into it. That's like a few history lessons, and I'm sure many of you are aware of that. But you know, it's important when you're doing this research to create the entire context. I mentioned it before, I think, at a membership meeting, that we really want to be thorough and we want to be very thoughtful about how we move forward. And any recommendations we made to the tribal council, we wanted to be sure we're fully vetted, because you know, we may only have one true shot at this revision process, and we want to do it right. So I just thank everybody and the council for your patience and letting us kind of feel our way through how to do this best. I also wanted to share that the ad hoc committee members, there's just a few. There's myself, Dr. Lindsay Robertson is with the University of Oklahoma College of Law. He's the Chickasaw Nation Endowed Chair in Native American Law, Emeritus. He's a Supreme Court Justice for the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes, and he's even a senior legal advisor to the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. So I was pretty elated when Dr. Lindsay, is what he said we could call him, said he would agree to help and to guide and be a member of our committee. It's amazing. Stephen Ward, he's a partner at Connor and Winters Law Firm. He has 20 years of experience in the field of American Indian law, representing tribal nations. He has litigation experience in sovereignty and jurisdiction, environment and energy, cultural property, and NAGPRA, among some other areas. And Steve works with the Caddo Nation as well to help us in many matters. So he was also a committee member. And Jonathan Rohrer, who's another attorney, he graduated from the University of Oklahoma College of Law and a Doctor of Law JD in Federal Indian Law. And he is also the Caddo Nation Historic Preservation Officer. And he's also been helping with an analysis of a court system. I don't want to speak to that because I definitely don't know a whole lot about it, but he has been working on, you know, the concept of a court system and what the Caddos may be able to do there. So really great team. We presented the historical underpinnings of tribal constitutions and how those came to be. The other thing that our committee did was review tribal constitutions. I created basically a massive Excel spreadsheet, and we gathered approximately 17 are inserted into the database. This is our way of understanding what tribal constitutions in Oklahoma look like. And those of you who have done some of these studies or looked at these constitutions, they're all very different. You know, other than some that have that boilerplate language that is similar to the Caddo Constitution, but many have been updated. And so we broke it into, for example, all the preambles and pulled those out separately for each tribe. The way the tribes determine in their constitution membership, jurisdictional areas. So there are some core areas of every single constitution. They're not all the same, but they were similar enough that we pulled all those out and began to collect that data and look at that data. And that data for phase 2, what's coming up, we're calling phase 2, will be really vital. I think for helping, for citizen outreach meetings, if things come up and people want to, well, what tribe has done this before? We're going to have a lot of data that I think can help inform both the commission and the citizens when we are all talking about things we may want to revise in our constitution. So we shared that with the tribal council. And then the last thing, and probably what ended up being the most important element of this phase 1, was pausing to reach out to people. We got recommendations. Our ad hoc committee members themselves had some really great recommendations to find out when tribes undertook a process similar to what we're thinking about doing, right? What did they do? How did it go? Who did they include? We really needed to do our homework on that before we just jumped into it, not knowing what we were doing, right? We wanted to see who's done this and how did it go. So we paused to do interviews and reach out to people who had undertaken this process. So I did the majority of those interviews, and I can't tell you how helpful that was. And I'm so thankful. It was Dr. Lindsay Robertson who really recommended that, because we were like, we've got to hurry, we've got to move. And he said, I'm telling you, you really need to explore what's been done, because there's some good examples of tribal constitutional revision processes, and there's some bad examples that have happened. And so we conducted interviews, and we got some phenomenal information that is so helpful, was really helpful, I think, in our ad hoc committee formulating what we then turned over to the tribal council recently and said, based on everything we've found out, these are our recommendations to you on how you can move through a process that is fair, that makes sure all the citizens have a chance to be heard and to feel included in that process, is transparent, so everybody knows what's happening throughout this process. So those were the goals. The goals were to create a process that was fair and inclusive and transparent. That's been our goal all along. And I am glad we paused to be sure that what we were thinking about doing was on the right track. And we had some wonderful tribal people who had moved through their revisions who were willing to share, I mean, the ins and outs of what they did wrong, what they did right, their resolutions and their whole process. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and our ad hoc committee appreciated that. So with that, we provided.
Stacey, can I jump in, because I know you're going to be wrapping up. With that said, I wanted to let everyone know there was some key individuals that's in this room, and Mr. McDonald is one of them, and their family, and Diane Parton is another one, and others like Michaela Meeks. She was here. Everyone was trying to provide information, and you'll be amazed to know that we took all this information and we adopted a resolution of the Caddo Nation of Oklahoma to authorize and establish of a Constitution Commission. And I want to read just the nuts and bolts of that, and then Stacey will let you know what her role is and all that. Whereas the Caddo Tribal Council is enforcing its sovereignty by undertaking a process to consider revisions to the Caddo Nation Constitution that will protect the welfare of the tribe and its members, and has initiated the Caddo Constitution Project and established a project coordinator. That's Stacey Haffman. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Caddo Nation Tribal Council authorizes the creation of the Caddo Constitution Commission to be comprised of 8 members appointed by the Tribal Council and supported by the project coordinator, which within 6 months of its establishment will hold regular commission meetings, launch a citizen survey, hold at least 7 citizen outreach meetings, draft legally valuable constitutional revisions based on citizen input. Remember, citizen is you. And guidance from content experts, and oversee any resulting referendum related to the election. Now, it's something we can hopefully wrap up. It's going to take a little time. I wish everyone well on that, and whoever's going to be involved. Stacy, you want to let them know what the next step is with the commission and your role?
Yes, thank you. I think we are waiting, these were all recommendations we shared with the council. So ultimately the decision is theirs. The resolution was passed to establish this commission. And once the commission members are appointed, then we will begin the process. And I am not a commission member. I'm just the project coordinator who is there to support the commission, help set up meetings, set the schedule for meeting with the districts out in the community. All of those, the whole process, I think, will begin. And there's some specifics that were recommended to the council about making sure that that committee has the funding it needs, and making sure that committee can operate, yes, under the authority of the tribe, but independently, so they can do their work and it can be impartial, without there being any perception that commission is influenced politically. That was a big recommendation by some of the tribes who have moved through a process that did go well. And ultimately, those constitution revisions or full rewrites were adopted. So we really listened to some of that, and that's how we're trying to move forward. I wait to hear from the council on who may be on that commission, and then I'm just there to support. And then you all will be seeing a citizen survey that would be launched. That's going to be vital. And there may be more than one. You'll be hearing about outreach meetings where everyone can come and begin to discuss what these revisions, what should be addressed in our Caddo Constitution. And I know people have already been looking at this and have shared some really great recommendations already, which we're keeping track of. So thank you for your time. Yeah.
I really appreciate you being online and all the work and meeting Dr. Langley and the council the other day, and all the legal experts that you brought on board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this right here around. If anyone in a room has an interest to be on the commission, please sign your name or just provide information, and we'll give it to the coordinator, because I'm sure after today there will be people contacting the council as members as well as her. So I'm just going to pass this around. Stacy, we really appreciate you, and thank you for serving our people.
Thank you. Howie.
All right. So I'm gonna say a couple more things, and we're gonna open it up. We have some things on the agenda. Again, a message from the chairman office of the Caddo Nation. Current state of affairs of the Caddo Nation. I want to talk to you about that. And then I'm going to turn it over to the election board. Is the election board here? Raise your hand if you're on the election board. I'm going to turn it over to the election board. They have some things they'd like to say about the 2025 upcoming election. And then we have a meal. It's a little late, but hopefully to get here. So I apologize for that. But before I get to the election board and turn it over to them, and after that, we'll have questions and answers, or if you have any concerns or comments, that's fine. We're going to allow you to do that. So remember, I was talking about the Biden administration, the Trump administration, and what that means for tribal nations. I want to, as the chairman of the Caddo Nation, I really want to thank my mom that's sitting right here, because without her, I wouldn't be here. And I love her very much. She's my Ina, she's my mother. And tell you, I love you this morning. We've been through a lot. Lost a lot of our folks that that talk Caddo, and Emma, different families, we all have been impacted by this COVID and the things that we had to go through, and even our journey in our lives, just like my aunt sitting there and her dad, Wimpy, think about him. We lost one of our tribal leaders the other day, Mr. Joe Fish, Donald DuPoint, Kiowa. It kind of reminded me when your dad left, Wimpy. They take those songs. God to be with you. I'm glad you're here, and thank you for being here. As chairman of the Caddo Nation, my fellow members here, I want to thank you for placing your trust in me and this administration to lead our nation forward as a tribe. Together, we're making history and setting a foundation for a brighter future. For the first time in our nation's history, I'm talking about the Caddo Nation. When you hear me say that, that's what I'm talking about. We're putting land back into trust, reclaiming what was taken from us during the devastating era of allotment. For the first time in our nation's history, we are cleaning up legacy pollution of our lands, restoring the health of our environment, and protecting our future generations. For the first time in our nation's history, we are getting a hold of our realty, ensuring that we have full control of any accountability over our lands. For the first time in our nation's history, we are creating strong financial foundation, climbing out of debt, believe it or not, and positioning our nation for long-term economic stability. For the first time, this nation in its history has enterprises. Our enterprises are poised to grow, creating jobs and opportunities through business like Arrowwood, Cockanaw, means to build something strong, which is building roads, childcare centers, and hopefully soon housing. For the first time in our nation's history, we are building our own roads and infrastructure, asserting our independence and ability to manage our own development. Like we just finished a $3.4 million road. We built it ourselves. We got federal money to do that out of DC to build that road. For the first time in our nation's history, we're planning to build the Caddo Nation Fusion Center, a state-of-the-art facility that will showcase our innovation and resiliency. That's about 1.4 million that we got from the Department of Homeland Security. For the first time in our nation's history, we'll build our own child care center, which is about 10 million. It'll be completed in May. Hopefully we'll let everyone go out there. There's a lot of movement out there right now. That's in Hinton, Oklahoma. I see some of our Hinton folks here. We're providing critical support for families and setting a new standard for our community spaces. For the first time since 1970, we're poised to plan and build new housing units, addressing a critical need for people. Some of our families have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 10, up to 12 generations living in the same household. For the first time in our nation's history, we are exercising our sovereignty more fully, establishing our taxing authority over big oil and gas producers, and ensuring that the resources from our lands benefit our nation. This is a new era for the Caddo Nation. We are reclaiming our lands, restoring our sovereignty, and building a foundation for growth that reflects the strength and resiliency of our people. Consistent with the lessons of our history, we are refusing to look back at what held us down and focus on rising together. For the first time in our nation's history, we are united in purpose and together, and will continue to make history together. And I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to serve, and our elected leaders to serve you. And I'm going to turn it over to the election board. They have a few things, and then if there's any comments after that, anyone have anything to say online, we'd love to hear from you. So turn it over to you guys. I have to say something. I know this is not going to be funny to my mother, but my father's Castilian Spanish. That's where I get the Gonzalez name. Don't let that fool you. My little grandkids are here. My daughter.
when they said you can come to Washington to the inauguration, I thought they was going to deport me. So I'm really glad to be home. I really appreciate that. You know, I thought ICE was going to be there, but anyway, I'm back.
Good morning, everyone. We just wanted to kind of introduce ourselves now that we have a full election board. I am Sydney Samaniego. I've been chosen, no.
Yeah, you're the chosen one.
To be the chairperson of the election board. So I'm new to all this, but I'm learning. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Nicole Beatty. I've been elected the secretary of the election board.
And I'm Christy Chandler, and along with Beatrice Johnston, I think we're the two oldest ones on the board, and we're so excited to work with these folks who have joined us. And here's our other member here, Louise.
Apologies, I had a phone call. My name is Louise Smith. I was born and raised here in Binger, Caddo County area my whole life. So currently live in Yukon. I am an active duty National Guard full-time service member. Just completed college, just finally finished my degree. So anyone that's going to school, don't give up. You can make it happen. And that's pretty much that's all I have.
So just a little bit of an update on what we've done. So we were brought in on the election board in October. We had first meeting in November. We didn't have one in December just due to the holidays and different things. We haven't had one for this month just yet. I am actually waiting on getting our office. We're supposed to be getting like an office space for us to be able to have access to and go and do what we need to do. So once we are able to get in there and kind of have more meetings, we'll be able to have a little bit more information. We're trying to get the ball rolling and really hurry up and get in there since we do have an upcoming election this year. So I think that's all from us. We just kind of want to introduce ourselves, like I said, and thank you guys.
I think really quickly, I'll just share too, just because our history preceded all of you, but thank you to the tribal council and thank you, Chairman, for ensuring that we do get dedicated space. It's been a long time coming, ensuring that we have the budget to pull off a successful election. And our election day is scheduled for Saturday, July 12th. 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we'll kick off the official notice in April and watch the website and social media for all election updates.
I want to thank you for serving as well as election board and thank the council in proposed budget that you provided us. And we captured that by law. I'm sure you got a copy from our executive assistant, giving you a budget and a space. I believe you'll be housed down there in the building down below. It used to be the old casino. It actually has a lock and key. It's state of the art. It has everything that they need, and just continue to work with the executive assistant or the administration piece with what you guys need. And I appreciate you serving. Thank you. My mom's not saying nothing. Oh, no. All right. So with all that said, again, I appreciate everyone being here. We have some food on the way, and it's coming. I don't know when it's going to get here. There's some snacks there. However, I'm going to start over here. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything you'd like to share with us, any positive things, bad, good, or indifferent, that's a part of what we do. And so if anyone has anything to say, just raise your hand. Okay. I'll bring you the microphone.
I'm not used to talking into a microphone, so bear with me. I think it is so wonderful that you are gathering the 7 tribes in this area. I think that is so important that we not splinter ourselves, but we develop a plan moving forward, because it is clear that Indian country is under attack, which is not new, I understand, but nonetheless. But I would also recommend that because Oklahoma as a state has the most number of federally recognized tribes, that we really involve our statewide elected officials, including senators and congressmen. We need to blow up their phones and emails in our discussion about what's happening in Washington and make our voice heard very clearly to them. We do have a checks and balances system for the US in their constitution, which may or may not be followed. But I do think that we need to work with all forms of government. And so that's why I would suggest that part of that meeting of the 7 and then involving the other recognized tribes in Oklahoma would be to get everybody mobilized together to present a united concern to our elected officials.
Okay, thank you for those comments. I heard our food's running late. But anyway, it's on the way. Does anyone else have any comments?
I appreciate what you said, and I'd like to add to that. I think that our state isn't our friend either. And so when we do those things, we have to make sure that we let the state, if we're going to be a cohesive group, we need to let the state know too that it's time to stop. Yeah.
Okay. Arnita.
Hi, my name's Arnita Peabody, and I just wanted to thank the council. Yesterday, I was voted to be on the health board, the Lawton Health Southwest, can't remember the name of it, but anyway, on the health board, and I wanted to say thank you, and I hope I can do a good job. I want to advocate for our people down at Lawton and the satellite clinics. We should be treated just as well as the other tribes. And sometimes we're not. It's like, oh, they're cattle, let them sit out there a while. So like I said, I want to advocate for our people. And if you guys have any suggestions or want me to take anything to the board, if you could probably let Kay O'Neill or someone know and they can get a hold of me. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you thank you for giving me that duty. I'm looking forward to it.
Hi, Tracy Compton. I just wanted to thank the council and the chairman for a very informative and very transparent meeting about the state of our nation and what's going on.
Yeah. What's that? Though they actually been going crazy trying to get me to go, beat some people up, but anyway.
I'm Stephen Noah. I'm the Bingo representative, and I work for Arrowwood, and I have no updates at this time.
My name is Tracy Martina, and I am the Anadarko representative. I currently had a district meeting a couple weeks ago, working closely with the election board, and I have a few concerns about the housing, but we're moving along. I need more people to participate in Anadarko, though. Thanks.
If those of you that didn't hear, is this on? I don't know if it's on. For those of you that didn't hear the Binger rep, He's been helping us with the child care center. He's a heavy operator, dirt guy. So he's been out there working. I actually seen him yesterday, all dirty with the hard hat on. So Braden, we appreciate you keeping everybody on track out there. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I'm Kelly Factor, Vice Chairman. One of the things that we did recently was Bobby and I attended the Tribal Symposium meeting when President Biden and Kamala were going out. So we got a lot of information there from what they've done for Native American policy. So one of the things with the transition with the Trump administration is that we want to stay on top of what's going on with that have to do with Native Americans. So that's keeping us really busy right now. There's, just seeing what's going on in the executive orders. One of the other things I'd like to say about Arnita was that we're really excited to have her on as our health board representative. Being both Caddo, interesting, we didn't meet until like the 1990s, but we met in Washington, D.C. We both worked for the Indian Health Service. And I think she'll be a perfect advocate for us and a bridge to work with the health board with the Lawton Indian Health Service. So I think she'll be a great addition. And that role is really important because she can find out what all is going on the healthcare side through the Indian Health Service and what's coming down for funding, what services they provide. And then her as a liaison providing that information back to us as a council, we're able to put that distribute that information out to all of our Caddo members. So thanks for accepting that.
My name is Jennifer Wilson, and I'm the Oklahoma City area representative for the Caddo Nation. And I would like to thank Arnita for stepping up and accepting this position. So if you have a problem or you hear anybody have a problem with IHS, with Lawton, Anadarko, whatever, I guess her phone number will be online as an advocate for us. Mr. Chairman.
What's that?
Are we going to put Arnita's phone number on the website?
Well, that's something that we haven't thought of, but Arnita, we need to get that. And I also need to get you a letter. Someone stole my packet. I think it was one of these council. No, I'm just kidding. I still got to get you a letter, so I was looking for it when you left. We'll figure that out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I just think that's so important that we have an advocate to go to IHS for us, because I know there's many times people feel like they're not, seen or heard, and we need an advocate for that, and you need to tell Arnita about it. And I think they said if you have a problem, be sure and get the time, date, and something else. Names, then IHS can work on it. So yeah, thank you, Arnita. The Oklahoma City group, we've had our meeting between our last our membership meeting and this meeting. And yes, we would like to, like Tracy said, more people to come out and participate. And let me know what's going, what your needs are, or if you have a problem. I will be glad to look into it for you. So thank you.
I'm Verna Castillo, treasurer, and I've been working with the finance department. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
And so far we've been going through all the award letters that we've been receiving through the Bureau and our other projects that's coming through. So hopefully everything will work out, that we won't lose any money with this new administration coming in. So that's what I've been doing so far. And if you have any questions, you can email me and I'll try to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kay O'Neill and I am the Fort Cobb representative. And I am very honored to be able to serve the Caddo Nation in this capacity. And as not only the Fort Cobb representative, but also a member of the council in Ho. What have we been doing lately? Well, I am the former Southwestern Indian Healthcare Board liaison for the Caddo Nation, but now that Anita is here and she has a wonderful background in IHS and she's going to be a perfect fit for this. But to address an issue that was previous that some people had asked about, had voiced an opinion that they weren't being taken care of at the Anadarko Clinic, the Carnegie Clinic, and the Lawton Clinic, that they weren't being informed of their appointments, that they were not being reminded that, that just not the quality of care that they should have received. And, as Jennifer has said, that was addressed, and I had taken that before the board, and they had, just to reiterate, they said, make sure that you have the time, the date, the name, and that it will be addressed because it is unacceptable and it will be taken care of at the board level. And what else have I got going on here? On a smaller scale, but just as important, I love my community. It's been a wonderful community. They've been very supportive of me, and they've just shown me a really wonderful, better way to address things. And gosh, I don't know, I'm just kind of having a hard time today. But recently I went to the CHR and I asked if they had any extra hand sanitizers because the flu is going around and it's just epidemic proportions here in Oklahoma. And CHR was generous. I was just going to ask for a few for some of the elementary classes, but they gave me a case of hand sanitizers and we were able to take it up to the Fort Cobb Elementary. And not only the Fort Cobb Elementary, but the junior high and the high school level, everyone was able to receive hand sanitizers. And even though it's a small thing, it's a big thing because we all have to work together for the greater good, not only of the Caddo Nation, but of our communities. And, saying that, I just want to say I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm grateful to be a part of the Caddo Nation. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, in November, we had the Metro Caddo Culture Club together with Humanities of Oklahoma, Arts Council of Oklahoma, and the Caddo Tribe. We put on a festival, the Caddo Festival at FAM in Oklahoma City. And I saw many of you there, and we had a great turnout and a good time. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. We'll see you again next year too.
This year.
What about those that don't have internet or are not internet literate? How do y'all get that information out to those Caddo members?
They can come up here, anytime they want.
They're elders and can't drive. How do you get that information out to those people?
Well, one of the things that we do is we send out a newsletter that hadn't been done in how many years? And so you can read it, the newspaper. As a matter of fact, we have a copy right here.
How often does the newsletter go out?
The newsletter goes out every quarter and it's fixing to go out again. It's got an update on every program, where we're at with funding, all that. That was one of the best things that we could, because a lot of people, like you said, don't get on the internet, right? And
or
then
they do and they don't know how to
navigate. Right, exactly. Oh, sorry. That's the people from DC calling me. They're probably wondering what I'm doing over here. So one of the things that we've been able to do is we have a newsletter now, And it talks about our programs, our funding and different things like that. And it goes out every quarter because a lot of our members don't have internet. And, that's a problem here because they should have internet. Maybe, they just don't, a lot of our folks, they don't know how to get on there. My mother, she don't have internet, but she can read a newspaper, right? And then if she wants any information, she's more than welcome to come here like any member and we'll provide it to them. All our grants are online. All 99.9% of all the funding that we go after is all federal. Okay. And so all that's online. Other than account information, it's all there. But one of the things is the newsletter, and hopefully we'll get better at it. I'd like to see a monthly newsletter, but that would take like a whole team of people. And so that's one way that we're getting the information
Well,
out.
if there's things that's monthly, how do y'all get that information? Like the turkey cards and the hams and the
We
all that?
leave that up to the programs that are administering those to get the word out, the best way they can because the growth is so large. We're more focused on, being elected leaders and getting in front of this administration or those decision makers to go after the dollars or protect our culture and heritage. So those members, we've grown so much in such a short time that we're always doing something. And quite frankly, a lot of us sometimes don't even know that they're having an event, and we're like, wow, that's pretty cool. It's not that they didn't invite us. It's just that we're growing and it's pretty exciting. So I would call up here, and get those questions answered from the tribal administrator. It's something that we need to work better and better at.
Yes, because when you do call up here to the tribe and whoever's answering the phone, well, I don't know about that. Let me get you to someone that can help you. It goes to voicemail and then you never get a call back. So that's something that needs to be worked on, communication, checking voicemails, responding to emails.
Hopefully soon. With that said, we'll have a 1-800 number. Like if you have any concerns, complaints, people are not doing their job or something right, unanimous, you can get on there and say if, whatever it is. And then also our elected leaders have a website, a page that you can contact them directly. If they're in your area and you have those concerns, they should be addressing whatever it is that you have concerns with. As your elected official, and they have all their email, their phone numbers, I think, are on there, and so it's on the governance page. You can. And now, if you don't get to them,
and I just want to say this has not happened to me personally.
Right.
This is just things I've seen on post and things, and from other people that have, asked me, "Did you see this? Did you?" And which I'm very active on the Caddo Nation page. So I do see things and I tried to share it or try to let other people know or call family members, but there's other people, sometimes I forget or what, that's why I was asking, but this has never happened to myself personally. I just wanted to ask to clarify so I can give people answers.
Yeah, the best thing to do is watch for our newsletter, watch for mail outs, online, Facebook, website. If you don't have your questions answered or anything, please reach out to one of your council members. I know everyone tries to get a hold of me, and my nickname is Rabbit, so it's going to be kind of hard to catch me.
Yeah.
Flyer on their door, not me.
And we want to get
Personal, but I do try to inform my constituents.
And we also want to get better at, informing our members when the council's meeting as well, because we have an open forum quorum. As you as a member can come to our council meeting, right? Our Anita was there the other day. And so you're always welcome to come to those. We need to be able to post those. So we're building all the infrastructure that's taken a long time to finally get here to say that, one, to climb us out of debt, two, to secure the tribe and its property. Today, we have over 17 million in grants and dollars. 99.9% of what we do is all federally funded or state funded. And we have over $20 million in assets and hardcore assets that's debt free. 4 years ago, you was in debt. And then we have around 3 million in hard asset cash related to our indent individual money accounts as a tribe. And we have an election coming up. We have a budget for them. The tribal council has a budget. The chairman's office is going to have a budget to where, regardless of who comes in at the next election, and if you feel like running, please do so. Because whoever comes in at this next election, you're going to have, an audit. You're going to have things to where it's handed to you in budgets and the audits and the numbers. Right now, our audits are great. We pulled back, and we said we're going to do it ourselves. And so we have a great team. We're finishing up our 2023, moving into our 2024. We have some investments that the Chickasaw Community Bank and the Chickasaw are looking at, as well as our banks, to bankroll some things economically to build the tribe. So the tribe is not the same tribe as it was 5 years ago, but it's not without your help. I need to know what you just said. How are we doing? What can we do better? Whatever it is, we need to know, because that's the only way we're going to fix it. All right. So anybody else have anything to say?
Right here.
Okay.
Also speaking on that, I was just kind of thinking, could we not utilize the text messages that go out? Because I get text message saying Caddo Nation tribe is closed today due to weather. I get text messages that are like, they're closed for Thanksgiving or whatever. Could we not utilize those text messages to say Anadarko district meeting today at 5 p.m. Regency, or council meeting or membership meeting or anything like that?
You could. We just have to have someone on the other end doing that, right? And come up with that formula. Right now, it's great ideas, a lot of great ideas. We're short on manpower. We thought that if we created jobs, right, that would be great. But when you create jobs, then you have another concern: where are kids going to go to school? And then where are they going to live? So we're kind of like have to look at all of it, and then how we communicate with our people. So I like the idea of being, tech in the tech world, but you can also see what's going on with TikTok. I've got a little granddaughter here that loves TikTok, and then right now that's actually banned to use here at the tribal headquarters. It's actually banned at IBM and banned at the world headquarters of Walmart because it's a device that, regardless of what you hear related to the politics, what happened in Congress, it's basically owned by the Chinese Communist Party. And so there are big corporations that's banned the use internally of it. But if you tried to ban that with my granddaughter and take it from her, she'll probably want to wrestle you over it, right? And so there's got to be a way we could do that. I'm not a social media person. Yeah. Right. Someone would have to add to it, is what I'm saying. Those conversations would have to have internally. So as that little notebook goes around, if you can, write that down so I don't forget that. Okay. And this council doesn't forget that. What's that?
No, I'm not an employee here.
The only time those text messages I think go out like that is like when it's bad weather, and storms and those kind of things. Right. Yeah.
Also, another thing I just want to kind of add real quick, we do have some voter registration applications and some voter requests for changes. So if you're not sure if your address is up to date or if you're registered, just come see one of us and we can get that form filled out. And that way, we're just trying to get as many people registered as we can and go from there.
All right. Anthony, can you help me out and take that to Arnita, or pass it around her, or Brayden, somebody?
Bobby, is there any update? Is there any update on the investigation that the FBI or somebody was doing for the money from the casino? I mean, that's kind of just been has it been dropped? Can you give us an update?
As far as that's concerned, this administration has not seen any evidence of theft related to the casino. However, the previous administrations made decisions that were economically devastating to the tribe, right? And we got the tribe out of that. So I met with the guy that basically tried to crook the Caddo Nation and resolved it. So I basically told him, you're not getting one dime from us. Yeah, yeah. So, but make no mistake about it. If there is any theft of property or from the tribe, the authorities will be involved. And those kind of issues are also what they call proprietary, because some of those investigations may be ongoing. So just so that you know.
There are two questions online. Ms. Vivian is asking, does the census automatically register us to vote? And Ms. Caroline is asking, how can I get registered to vote?
That's a question for the election board. You want the mic? Because they can hear you on the mic if you hear. Hold on. I'll give her this one. I'll give her this one. I'll come get it.
Okay, so I believe according to our constitution and our ordinance that you are not automatically signed up to vote. You have to register. So, and then also to register to vote, we're trying to get our email set up, stuff like that. I don't believe we're online yet on the website. The forms are online, yes, but I mean to get it back to us. And of course, you can always send those back to the Caddo Nation, to the tribe, and we'll go up there and get that. But I don't think we have like until we get our office set up and stuff, we're really kind of just at a standstill at the moment. But the forms are online. Do we have the PO box? Oh, yeah.
So does the election board actually have an online presence so they can get a hold of you guys? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I know that there's an election board, like there's a election like website. I don't know if we like our names and our emails and stuff are on.
Well, maybe you can work with our media team, to make a lot of those things happen. So you can be present, in that world, and whatever you guys need to do.
Yeah, I worked with see, who was it? Somebody, I can't remember, but we did get our emails set up. I'm actually having trouble getting into mine, so I do need to talk to IT. But we do have a PO box at Binger. It's PO Box 10 Binger, so you can always send your voter registration or request for changes or anything to there, and then we can get those there if you. No, July 7th, no later than 4:30 on July 7th.
Okay. So all that will be online. I mean, you guys will take care of it.
I have a question regarding the 8 people that are going to be selected for the commission. The council will decide those 8 people, and will they necessarily be from each area, or will there people out of state be considered, or how will that function?
That's a great question. And one of the things that we're going to do is read the report. We just got the report. We wanted to inform everyone about this commission. And we will have that process laid out and put it out there in our media world as well, good. so that we'll know that process. Good. All right. Uh-oh. What, you want to say something? What if I say no? No, I'm just kidding.
I just wanted to address a thing about being notified about meetings with our representatives. It was a snow day when you had that last meeting. No one could even get out the door. I didn't know that. Right. Hmm. I didn't know anything about the rescheduling of those meetings because I didn't go out during snow days, but I might have been gone. That's just your word against mine. Well, I think that has a really negative impact about you wanting more participation. If we're not kept updated with a text message or anything of that sort, then we don't know anything about it. So we're not going to go. And I'm right there. What? No, I'm not interested in darker paper. Usually doesn't. No, I don't get that paper, but if I call up here to the information for the Caddo office, maybe they can give me that information if you gave it to them. I'm just saying right now, there's no access to you as far as I'm concerned. I don't have a phone number of any of you, so we could go to these meetings or I could. I don't know about anyone else. Well, just a few of them that I happened to find out they were having a meeting and I went. But I do believe that it could be better communication skills on your part, since you're the elected representative for us in that area. Well, I think the notices help. They could even be put on the building door. We do have a laundry over there, even though, people go over there. So we're kind of at a standstill as far as I don't have any information to back your position up. I'm not being communicated with. You could give me a call. I don't have your number. I don't know that I'll give you my number, but I'm just saying, it should be available. I'm not just trying to be negative, but there is no communication. And I wanted to say one more thing about our health advocate. Is it Anita? Arnita? I'm glad that you're on this board now, and there is still a lot of discrepancy between a receptionist telling you that you can't come to this hospital like Lawton. You have to go back to your tribe. And then your tribe says, why did they tell you that? We service other tribes. It leaves you making a wasted trip to Lawton just to get information. You can't get the appointment because you got to go back to Caddo's because you're Caddo's. You go to CHR, they don't have any information. I'm running into this quite a bit right now. And I don't know if it's because I'm an elder and they think I just can't speak English or have no communication skills. They didn't give me that information. But I do want answers from IHS. I've written 3 complaints against Indian Health Hospital just because of that. Even it goes all the way down just to the receptionist answering you, trying to answer your question, or they want you to understand their answer. Or your primary caregiver keeps skipping around in different positions at the Indian Lawton Hospital. But you're made to feel like you have no recognition as far as speaking up for yourself, yet they want you to be a self-advocate for your health. How can you be an advocate for yourself if no one's listening to you? I talked to Julie Lone Wolf, I believe, over here at the clinic about this problem, and she said, I can't believe that you're getting all this runaround. She said, you'd be a great advocate just for a citizen of a tribe to come in here and talk to our hospital staff. They don't know because a lot of elders think that they don't have a voice, or they've never worked in in an atmosphere that was political. Well, any atmosphere is political when it comes to natives, I think. In the state of Oklahoma, you can't be an advocate unless you're for patient care, unless you're, I guess, working for a health program or through the court-appointed advocate system. That's so unfair because it doesn't represent us who are patients. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. I appreciate you and I hope we get to talk. Maybe I can get your number today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you notice, my mother can say anything she wants. She's right. I hear it, you know, and one of the things that we've been able to do is that you will be nice to know that the Caddo Nation, as your chairman, signed a petition with the National Congress of American Indian in Washington, D.C. to fund IHS. It's the biggest increase in Indian health service in the history of health in country, which is over $8 billion in Indian country. First time in decades. And all the other tribes follow suit. The first one on the list was the Caddo Nation. And so we're hoping those dollars trickle down. It's still, she brought up a great point. How do we get involved, you know, and communicate better? So all our tribal council members and our elected leaders, you know, our district reps, you know, we have a newspaper. Maybe it's like Jennifer Wilson brought up. We allow their numbers to be on the newspaper. We know everybody gets a newspaper and their names are on there. Their names are on our website, but like my mother, you know, she don't get on the website, right? She chases me around with a butcher knife. Come here, I'm gonna cut your ears off, you know? But anyway, I know someone wants to talk. I appreciate everyone's comments.
Hello, my name is LaDonna, and back to the clinics. My son had a problem there to where he was getting treated with the Anadarko clinic because due to his back issues. And then when he went back to get his referral, they told him they would give him one, but the doctors never received no referral. So, however, then when he did call down, they said he was not allowed to go to the Anadarko clinic, but he had to go to Clinton. Is it Clinton? And so then when he called there, they said he could go anywhere he wants. So there's like a miscommunication in reference to, I would think that you should be able to use either or. And also back to the seniors not getting on the internet and such. They serve like 60 meals with AOA. And what would be the, if they could put it like a little newsletter in their lunches, like every Monday morning, if they knew something coming up that week, and maybe that could be a weekly Monday thing. Maybe the front desk could type something up that make copies, and the driver could pick it up, and we could just stick it in their sacks and send some flyers down to the Gracemont and such. And that would help with people with no internet. And maybe if there's something, and they could call beforehand in case of emergencies, the weather issues, or any type of something like that. But that's just a thought. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that my son, he went to Tennessee last year. He went through our church and he made this huge ship. It was from here to the in Lagos. And we asked for sponsors. I had a few sponsors, but the Caddo Nation sponsored him, and he was able to attend this trip. So I want to thank Matt. I worked with him very closely, and he made sure that we got a picture and everything. It never got into the paper or anything. I don't know what happened, but I just want to say I'm very grateful for the Caddo Nation. I know there's been a lot of, they don't do this, they don't do that, but for my son, they did help us a lot. So I appreciate the Caddo Nation and the things they do for our young kids.
August of Lester.
Was it LaDonna? It was just regarding what you're saying about the Indian Health Service and your son. Just a quick question for clarification. You said that Anadarko said that they couldn't see him. Is that right? The only thing I could think of, did it have to do with contract health, or they call it PRC now, preferred care? Because the thing with the purchased referred care, it used to be contract health. The Indian Health Service gets dollars for each service unit area, and they have to live within a certain mile range. The only thing I could think of is maybe your son lived outside of the Anadarko. It depended on what his address was listed with them, and for him to get contract health and to get referred out for it to be paid for, he would have to get referred out of Clinton. That's the only thing I could think of why they would send him there. I know like now they go by your address. So it would depend on what address he was using. So I don't know why they would do one and not the other, but that's something that they do. True. Right.
I'm sorry, a
And
lot
I
of
think-
people can't hear what she's saying online.
She was just saying that her family's addresses, they lived right in the same, like next door to each other, and why her son was denied contract health. So I'm just thinking it could be that they looked at his address and thought, well, it's in the Clinton Health Service jurisdiction. And if he was referred out by Anadarko and then he went like to a cardiologist or, whatever it might be, there's a that wouldn't get covered. So it would come back on him that he'd be getting billed and it wouldn't be covered. But if he got referred out through Clinton because he's in their service unit, then it would get paid for. So I'm just saying that might be what it was, but what my recommendation would be to call Terry Hunter, like he's the facility unit director at Anadarko, and let him be aware, and he can check that for you to find out why. And if it was a front desk person, I would just go to the facility unit director. That's his job to look into that for the patients. And his name is Terry Hunter.
So if I could jump in the middle of this for just a second. If are now appointed, as part of the health board, and we have folks here that are on the council that works for IHS. Can we, talk to them when we, break here in just a second? What I'd like to do right now is I want to thank everyone for being here and everyone online. As you know, if you don't know, my phone is being tremendously blown up by other tribal leaders regarding laws that they're passing that impact us related to this administration or things that they support right now, as well as HODs being as far as like the Department of Interior, HOD on leases and permits related to right-of-way issues. So what I'd like to do, because I'm actually getting those by blow at the moment, I'd like to convey and pause for today. And we have some food coming. I would like for y'all to meet and visit and ask questions, get to know each other even more as we move throughout, moving our tribe forward. So there's some food coming. If you guys would like to visit, food should be here at any minute. I want to thank everyone for coming, and please visit with your council members. as I'll be exiting, and I've got to get a handle on these executive orders and what's going on in Indian country. Thank you for today. Thank you for allowing us to serve. And I think if we could adjourn, that would work. If there's anyone that would like to make a motion to adjourn, would like to entertain that. Tracy Compton made a motion to adjourn, seconded by Buzz McDonald. Do I hear all in favor say aye? Raise your hand. You know, even online, if we can get a count. Okay, all right. What we have a number 19. Anyone abstain? Okay. All right, so we're going to adjourn for the day. Motion carries. There's 19, I believe, probably. How many we have online? Did anyone online say? Let's capture that. Make sure. 3 ayes, 1 nay. So that gives us 21, 22. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Please visit and have a meal. And thank you for being here, and look forward to seeing you again. If you need anything, reach out to everyone but my mother. No, I'm just kidding. Have a great day. Thank you.